tutorial process, in high school, the focus shifts to the increasingly rigorous content that students encounter. In response, the AVID teacher gradually releases responsibility for the tutorial process to build student agency.
So it seems that we're kind of leading towards innovators, James Watt, Nikola Tesla, the Wright brothers, and J.P. Morgan as most, influential innovators. But I don't think we're not very good at coming to see which one is the best one. So I think we should take it to the tutorial group. So in AVID, yeah.
By high school, students should be adept at identifying an initial question from the rigorous coursework. Working in small groups before the tutorial day can help students pinpoint an area of academic need or curiosity.
All right, good morning. Good morning. One more time, good morning. Good morning. Okay, great. So we're going to break into our TRF groups. But I want to make sure that we are aware and make sure we are focusing today and during tutorials on implementation of peer tutors, right? So you guys are each other's support and help, right? You know who your peer tutors are. And we're also going to be using academic thinking skills today. Okay, so make sure that you remember once you're in your tutorial groups, you should have written your TRFs over your tag, right? For the tag, which is the tutorial and grade analysis forms, based on your area of greatest need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and break up. So if you guys would get up and move to your groups.
After the teacher sets the focus for the day, students move directly into their tutorial groups. These groups are based on the Tutorials and Grades Analysis, or TAG, where students analyze a recent grade report and compare it to recent TRFs to determine the focus for their current TRFs.
Can everyone please share their tutorial question?
My tutorial question was, what other ways could the government influence industrialization?
My TQ was evaluate the two remaining innovators, which are Tesla and the Wright brothers, to determine who is the most influential in today's society.
Andy, would you like to go?
Among other benefits, using technology allows students to easily create or import graphic organizers to support their learning.
All right, Andy, can you please give your 60-second speech?
My essential question from the class was, who was the most influential person in the Industrial Revolution? Then my initial question is, out of my top 4 contestants, who was the most influential? And for my vocabulary, I have the Industrial Revolution was from 1760 through 1840, and it was a transformation from agricultural to industrial nation. Then I got modernization, which is making modern in appearance or behavior. What I know about my question, first of all, I got Tesla and Wright brothers. The Tesla, he made most electrical systems, and the Wright brothers made the first working planes. And then I had 2 others, J.P. Morgan and James Watt. But I eliminated those when you assume my work. And then my tutorial question, a TQ, was to evaluate the 2 remaining innovators, the Tesla and the Wright brothers, to determine the most influential in today's society.
Do you mind writing down the info that you just stated onto the board? And then while he's writing, please take out any resources that may help him out with his TQ. And also remember that if you have notes over this, that you can feel free to add on.
My top 4 that I picked for the most important ones was J.P. Morgan, which right now he has the Chase Bank. Nikola Tesla, which he made most electric systems, like specifically the AC, the current thing. I got the Wright bros, which he made the first working plane. I got James Watt. He didn't make the steam engine, but he improved the steam engine. So my first challenge right now was getting them all into one bracket, or eliminating one from each to see who would go on to the next one, and then finding the most influential. But they're all influential, so I couldn't decide. To evaluate the 4 innovators that I picked, I used the elaboration graphic organizer to put them so I can visually see it better, make it more easier on myself. Yeah, I think.
Do you have any notes or anything you prepared to help you?
Yeah, I listed out I listed 2 or 3, their most what they're most known for.
Okay, can you put that down on the board?
So those are the main things that they're known for, or that I know them for. Now I need to decide out of these two, which one is the most influential.
Are there any questions for Andy?
In your opinion, which do you think is more important thing? Which do you think changed the world?
But they all changed the world.
I think they all changed the world.
But which one is more
Yeah.
relating to today's time that
Yeah, so-
helped?
Today's time?
Yeah, that impacted.
Well, I was thinking Tesla. We got Tesla today. We got the electric cars. But today we also have
Airplanes. I mean, there's some airplanes work with electricity too. Well, yeah, but airplanes.
But what do they
Transportation.
work with?
Yeah,
How about we start off with one person, just so then we can make a comparison between those two at the end. Alright, so which one do you want to start with? Tesla or the Wright brothers?
Okay, let's start with the Tesla.
Do any of y'all know anything else about Tesla?
Alternating current.
Which is still used today in like many schools and houses. So I know that's still around.
Okay, so, but we need electricity to power the planes.
Right.
So if we don't have the electricity to power the planes, there won't be any like
Or
to get.
electricity and fuel too. We got fuel.
Alright, so we keep focusing, we keep focusing on like today's society, but how about like make a comparison to like back then? So for example, sustainable energy, how did sustainable build up the idea to today?
To today? Well, if it wasn't for him, starting with all the inventions with energy, then the people who took in after him wouldn't have been able to build on it or to improve on it to make it what it is today.
Can you name an
You know what I mean?
example?
An example of what?
Sustainable energy, how possibly other innovators took the idea of sustainable energy.
Like Thomas Edison, but I actually think he was working for Thomas Edison at one time.
Alright, sir, I haven't heard from you. Do you have a question for Randy?
Can you explain why you eliminated Morgan and Watt?
J.P. Morgan and James Watt. Well, when I first had the top four, I picked J.P. Morgan because he was basically everyone's financer. But as I kept looking at these people's influence and what I think today, I know we have J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. I know that's beneficial to today, but I think his influence wasn't had much of an impact as Tesla.
Alright, Justin, do you have a question for Randy?
So how do you think James Watt's improvement on the steam engine affected the society as a whole?
Well, he made it safer for miners to go and mine because with a steam engine they had more safety right there because the first one I'm pretty sure had a lot of dangers, but as he improved it.
But other than the what's it called, the power tools and steam powered tools, what other things?
Oh yeah, you know what?
What other things did it?
This
influence?
powered the
And
trains, and the trains had a big impact back then. Shipping and traveling and all that.
And what else?
Yeah, let me just try the train. Ready?
Okay, so steamboats too, which was also formed for transnational trade and stuff. Do you still think that James Watt should be eliminated, or should he replace someone else that you chose?
Thinking about it now, I still think he should be eliminated, just due to the fact that Tesla's a big name right now. The Tesla cars, it's pretty big right there. You say Tesla, someone be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. You say planes, you look up and you'll see a plane. You say steam engine, and you'll look like steam engine.
But do you
Steam
think?
engine.
But do you think that the James Watt and the steam engine, that was the beginning point of the Industrial Revolution?
How did Nikola Tesla lead to the Industrial Revolution?
That's a very good question. When I was researching, it stated that when he came out with all these different ideas that they weren't exactly in his time, they were more of the future. So when he created the AC, which is the alternate current thing, more people were like, hey, we should hop on this this is the new wave. We gotta start making technologies for the future. And then after that, people saw this opportunity, and they started, getting better and better.
Adding on to what you wrote about created the AC, if you know, like from before, someone else created the DC. Do you know what DC?
Oh yeah, Thomas Edison.
But do you know what DC represents?
Direct
current.
Yeah.
So what advantage did AC have that DC didn't?
I know that AC, you could have more high voltage, or you could have more high power, but it wasn't as dangerous because it was you could have more power but with less dangers.
Based on this conversation, what can be concluded from which innovator was the most influential?
Which innovator was most influential? Well, looking back at the newly found evidence that we had for Tesla.
Academic conversations from the social sciences often are similar to a Socratic seminar. Utilizing question frames from the related academic thinking skill, such as evaluation, helps push the conversation towards a higher level to resolve the POC.
So I think without him, it would have been either not happened or it would have been delayed.
Okay. Can you please write your steps?
So first thing we did was we chose the elaboration graphic organizer. So
This looks really good. So Andy, are these steps general enough so that they can be applied to any question that you might have like this?
yeah.
So, but let's just make sure that when you are asking, sometimes it is a specific one, but there are times like this, right, where you're going to need them to be general enough so that you can always apply these exact steps to any, right, problem, especially when you're comparing.
It is because, for example, if we're doing like math, we could put like what we already knew before from tutorials and then like solve it out, which is basically putting new evidence.
Absolutely. Good job. Thank you, goodness.
Want me to do my 6-second synthesis right now?
Yes, please.
Okay. I came in here today not knowing who was the most influential person of the Industrial Revolution. And now I'm convinced it's Nikola Tesla. The steps that I went through to get to this was, first I had to choose the graphic organizer. And then after that, I had to put my background knowledge. And with the help from y'all, we got some new evidence to back up Tesla. Basically more that his inventions, they're more modernized now, like with Tesla cars and all this battery-powered stuff. And now I know that Nikola Tesla was the most influential person from the Industrial Revolution. One of the most influential.
And make sure to take a picture of the notes.
Oh, yeah.
When possible and appropriate, students should use available technology to support the tutorial process, such as taking a picture of their learning.
Okay, class, thanks very much. This was a great tutorial session. We're moving into closure right now. So, using your resources and what you learned today during tutorials, I want you guys to focus on the sentence stem. My greatest aha moment today was blank. And this is useful because blank.
Providing students with sentence stems during closure is one method educators can choose to guide them in the summary and reflection step.
We're going to make sure that we remember what our academic focus was for today, and it was our peer tutorial groups, right? And it was also using our academic thinking skills. All right, so I want you guys to verbally reflect on your glows and grows for today's tutorial session.
When students leave tutorial, they should understand the content material presented and feel prepared to tackle the subject matter back in their academic classes.
Okay guys, welcome back. So we are going to take the 16 people that you came up with last time, and we are going to narrow down who we think the most influential person from the Industrial Revolution was. I've already numbered the brackets for you. Table 1, you guys will do Watt and Edison. Table 2, Curie and Tesla. 3, Queen Victoria and Smith, etc. So table 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, so what I believe is that Curie